My girlfriend dropped the bomb. It's finished between us. My new guy is flying me to Paris. I simply said, have a safe trip. She had no clue that her new guy was actually the latest intern who reported directly to me. I waited until their plane was airborne, then sent my intern a single message. You're terminated. I killed his company Amex and left both of them marooned across the Atlantic. Madison, my girlfriend of exactly 2 years, ended things with me 7 days ago. She picked our favorite restaurant for the execution. Gutsy move. I had to sit there, stone-faced, while she calmly tore apart everything we'd built, all while the waiter kept nervously refilling my water like it might somehow help. She delivered the standard script. We were heading in different directions. She craved more fire, more drive, someone who truly had momentum. Then came the part she'd been itching to drop. She'd already found that person. An extraordinary man who was really going somewhere. He's taking me to Paris for a whole week. Alex, she said, her eyes gleaming with vicious satisfaction. First class, departing Friday night. She wanted the image to burn, her being swept off to Europe in luxury by someone bigger, better, more alive than me. She wanted me to feel tiny and obsolete. I felt none of it. Instead, an icy clarity settled in, the same feeling I get right before I lock in a 9-figure contract. Because while she described this mystery winner, I realized I knew precisely who he was. His name is Leo. He's my most recent intern. A little background. I'm a VP at a global tech giant. 3 months back, we brought in a fresh batch of hand-picked MBA interns from the usual Ivy factories. Leo stood out instantly, sharp, magnetic, and dangerously convinced the rules didn't apply to him. He landed on my team. I spotted the talent, but I also spotted the entitlement. He lived like someone who believed he was too clever to ever pay a price. Because my division handles sensitive, high-stakes projects, I had the authority to issue him a corporate American Express with an unusually high limit. It wasn't normal for interns, but he was supposedly on the rocket ship. The card was meant strictly for project-related European client work that was in the pipeline. As his supervising VP, every penny was visible to me in real time. I handed him an extraordinarily long rope, curious whether he'd climb it or strangle himself with it. So when Madison, whose own paycheck barely covers rent, started bragging about first-class seats in 5-star hotels, something clicked. Leo didn't have family money. There was only one possible source for that kind of cash. He was using the rope I'd given him to hang us both. I played along beautifully. I let my face register just enough quiet devastation to feed her ego. I even asked softly, which flight on Friday? She happily supplied the airline and flight number, twisting the blade deeper. 7 p.m. nonstop to CDG, she smirked. That night, while she packed her belongings in our apartment, I sat in my study and opened the expense dashboard. Everything was there in crisp detail. Transaction 1, 2 open-ended first-class tickets, Air France, $14,500. Transaction 2, 7 nights at a Palace Hotel on the Champs-Élysées, $8,200. Transaction 3, cash withdrawal at the departure airport, $1,000. He was treating the company card like an unlimited personal slush fund. It was audacious, idiotic, and guaranteed to end his career before it ever started. He was betting I'd never notice or that he could bury it later. Terrible wager. When Madison finally dragged her last suitcase to the door, she paused for one final pitying glance. Well, Alex, time for my new chapter. My new man is taking me to Paris. I met her eyes, expression blank. Enjoy the flight, I said. For the next 48 hours, I did absolutely nothing. I let them float through security, sip complimentary champagne in the lounge, board, and lift off. I watched the little plane icon crawl across the Atlantic on Flightradar 24. Only when it was solidly over open water, far beyond any chance of turning back, did I move. Phase 1. The message I'd already composed to Leo. Leo, effective immediately, your internship is terminated for gross violation of company policy and fraudulent use of corporate assets. Your company card is now void. Do not contact me or anyone at the firm. Formal documentation and repayment demand to follow. Sent. Read receipt would hit him somewhere above Newfoundland. Phase 2. A quick call to the 24-hour corporate card emergency line. I gave my executive credentials, reported the card compromised, and ordered it killed on the spot. I instructed every charge from the past week be flagged as unauthorized and reversed. The rep confirmed. Card dead. Holds placed. Fraud case opened. Done. 5 minutes. 2 actions. And their fairy tale was obliterated. I pictured the arrival. High on free-flowing Krug, they'd glide through Charles de Gaulle, hop a taxi, roll up to the hotel glowing with triumph. They'd hand over the reservation name. The clerk would type, frown, type again, then deliver the polite French version of your card is declined and your booking no longer exists. From that moment, every restaurant, museum ticket, and Uber would reject the useless plastic in Leo's wallet. His personal checking account, fed only by an intern's stipend, couldn't cover a single night in a hostel, let alone 2 flights home. 8 hours later, my phone started lighting up with French prefixes. I declined every call. Then came the texts from Madison, escalating from confusion to hysteria. Alex, what the hell did you do? They won't let us check in. Nothing works. Leo says you fired him and killed the card. This isn't funny. We're stranded. You have to fix this. You owe me. I waited until the inbox was sufficiently flooded, then sent one reply. Sounds like an issue between you and your ambitious new partner. As I said, enjoy your vacation. Sent. Then I blocked her number, her socials, her email, total radio silence. Her friends started blowing up my phone next, armed with whatever sob story she'd fed them. This is cruel. There's been a huge misunderstanding. I blocked every last one. Monday morning, I walked into the office and laid the entire paper trail in front of HR and my EVP. Timeline, screenshots, amounts, everything. I explained I'd already neutralized the threat Friday night the moment the plane was airborne. My boss nodded approvingly. Fast, clean, and you saved the company a lot more exposure. Good judgment. HR blacklisted Leo permanently and sent the standard ethics violation letter to his MBA program's dean. My personnel file got a quiet note praising decisive risk management. The gossip network eventually delivered the rest of the saga. After failing to reach me, Madison had to call her parents in tears, confessing that her glamorous getaway had been funded with a stolen corporate card and had now collapsed. Mom and Dad, after the inevitable parental meltdown, wired just enough for the cheapest one-way tickets available, middle seats, multiple connections, probably via Reykjavik. That 16-hour journey home must have been exquisite. Back on American soil, the Leo-Madison romance lasted roughly another week. Once he was unemployed, drowning in debt, and radioactive to recruiters, the dynamic sheen wore off fast. She dumped the deadweight. Madison, now penniless, publicly humiliated, and still not on any lease, had nowhere to go but back to her parents' house in the suburbs, late 20s, sleeping under the same posters she had at 15. She tried a revenge tour, told anyone who'd listen that I was a possessive psycho who sabotaged her out of jealousy. Then came the comically inept legal threat, an email demanding I return her furniture, artwork, and electronics, all of which I'd bought years before she existed in my life, plus some vague claim to half my net worth for emotional investment. I forwarded it to my lawyer. He fired back a cease and desist that shredded her claims, attached receipts proving sole ownership, and gently reminded her that she had willingly participated in credit card fraud against a Fortune 500 company. It closed by noting that, so far, legal had chosen not to name her as a co-conspirator, but continued harassment might change that calculus. Everything went quiet instantly. For months have passed since their aborted Parisian adventure. Leo's career is ashes. The company sued him for the full $24,000 plus. His elite MBA now comes with a scarlet letter no headhunter will touch. He is unemployable at any serious firm in the industry. Madison and Leo's whirlwind romance died the moment reality boarded the plane home. She's living in her childhood bedroom, working a job that barely covers gas, and has gone radio silent with virtually everyone who witnessed her triumphant exit. About a month ago, a final email trickled in from a new address. Pages of self-pity, blame-shifting, and half-hearted apologies. I read it, felt less than nothing, deleted it, and blocked that address too. My own life. Better than ever. My reputation at work is bulletproof. The higher-ups see me as the guy who spots risk and neutralizes it before it metastasizes. My apartment is calm, my gym progress is ridiculous, and I've reconnected with friends I'd lost touch with during the Madison era. I don't view any of this as revenge. It was simply asset protection, corporate and personal. An untrustworthy employee and a disloyal partner made a catastrophic bet using resources I controlled. I simply called in the debt at the worst possible moment for them and the best possible moment for me. They rolled the dice with stakes that were never theirs to gamble. They lost everything. I didn't even have to cheer. It was just business. 6 months later, almost to the day the plane took off, I got a LinkedIn message from an account with no photo. The name was generic, M. Thompson. The note was short. Alex, I know you'll probably delete this. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. I was wrong about so many things. I hope one day you can forgive me, even if we never speak again. I'm trying to put my life back together. I don't expect a reply. I stared at the screen for maybe 30 seconds. Then I clicked, mark as unread, closed the laptop, and went to the gym. That was the last direct contact from Madison. But the ripples kept coming, smaller each time, like the final circles after a stone sinks. Leo's story made the rounds in the NBA group chats. Apparently, he tried the classic spin it as a misunderstanding routine with recruiters. Didn't work. One of the big consulting firms actually called my company for a reference check, standard procedure even when someone is fired. Our HR politely confirmed dates of employment and added that he was terminated for cause involving financial misconduct. That was the end of that interview. Last I heard, he dropped off the grid in terms of finance and tech. Someone spotted him tending bar in Miami. Good tips, long hours, no corporate card required. Madison never left her parents' house. Her Instagram, which used to be a non-stop parade of brunches and sunsets, went private, then dormant, then vanished entirely. A mutual friend, one of the few who still talks to both camps, told me she's working the front desk at a dental clinic, saving for an online certification so she can eventually become a hygienist. Stable job, benefits, no drama. She dyes her hair a plain brown now and deleted every photo that had my apartment in the background. I ran into one of her old college friends at a conference happy hour a few weeks ago. The friend recognized me, went pale, and spent 10 minutes apologizing on Madison's behalf. I told her it was ancient history and bought her a drink. She relaxed, then quietly said, honestly, she knows she burned the bridge. She tells people she dated the devil and learned her lesson the hard way. I laughed and said, the devil would have been more entertaining. That was that. On my end, everything accelerated. The way I handled the Leo situation became low-key legend inside the firm. When promotion season came, my name was at the top of the list. I made senior vice president before 35, youngest in the division by 6 years. The board cited exceptional judgment under pressure in the announcement. They have no idea it started with a breakup at a restaurant and a canceled Amex. I bought a bigger place downtown, floor-to-ceiling windows, the kind of view Madison used to pin on her secret Pinterest boards. I date when I feel like it. Nothing serious, no one moves in. I travel first class when it's the company's dime and economy when it's mine, just to remember I can. Sometimes, late at night, I still open the old expense portal out of habit and scroll to the archived reports. The Paris charges are still there, frozen in time. $14,500, Air France, CDG. $8,200, Hotel Plaza Athene. $1,000, ATM withdrawal, Terminal 2E. Every line item flagged in red, fraud, reversed. I keep the screenshot as my phone lock screen background for exactly 1 week every year, around the anniversary of their departure date. A private reminder that consequences are real, that arrogance has a price, and that patience plus authority is an unbeatable combination. Then I change it back to a photo of the ocean. Life moves forward. They gambled everything on a lie and a stolen credit card. I simply enforced the rules at the precise moment it hurt the most. And every year, when that screenshot comes and goes, I allow myself one small, private toast with whatever bottle is open. To risk management. To perfect timing. And to the fact that some people have to fly all the way to Paris to discover the ground is exactly where they left it.